we're now at one of the highlights of the day, the Lion's Den. And one of the cool things today is I think every solution today is pretty new to the market, right? A lot of this stuff is first time it's going to be seen. So as I said in a message that I sent out to promote this, it's a great way to benchmark your own tools. So stick with us. This is the highlight of the day. So Paul, can you bring us to the Lion's Den slide? So Paul, can you move us forward to the Lion's Den? And so these are our lions. Raphael, are you there now? Are we able to get you, Raphael? I know Giles is there. So Giles, are you able to turn on your microphone just to make sure you're here? So I want to introduce everyone. Giles from IHG, Andreas from BCD, and Raphael is one of our own at LSA. So Andreas, are you there? Let's see.
Chris, I'm here. The mic was cut by the organizer.
Okay, perfect. So good afternoon, Raphael. How are you doing in Paris? Thank you for helping us out.
I'm doing fine, just surviving with the lockdown.
Can you try to turn on your camera so you're the one that's supposed to sum up? So sum up kindly on our four very new solutions. So nice to see you. How are you today?
Yes, great to see you too, Chris. I'm fine, thank you.
Good, and your fellow judges are Giles, who's so well. Why don't you introduce yourself, Raphael, and say your background? I know you're more of an IT guy.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Raphael Béjart. I've a background in the airline industry for a couple of years and the IT systems industry. I've been setting up a first company called Air Savings, doing ancillary revenues for airlines, and now I'm the CTO of another IT system company in France called Constance, doing integration of reservation system for airlines. And I've been one of the co-founder of the LSA with Chris, Peter, Michael, and Ian, because we thought that it was important to bring to the public, the professional public, of course, how security of a loyalty system could be, let's say, very important to take awareness on that.
So I think I met you in 2007, and you were probably the first IT provider for ancillary services for airlines. Like, I think you were a little bit ahead of the GDS, or a few years ahead of the GDS. Probably the first IT solution solely dedicated to driving ancillaries.
Yes, we were. I agree with you. We were. The only other one having that was Ryanair, but it was an in-house department, and we provided an external outsource service for many airlines to connect their systems to different ancillary providers. Yes.
An in-house department run by our friend Sinead at the time, who's now also works in consulting. So we know her well.
Exactly. Yes. A great person.
And later you went on to work with them, right? Later on you were a provider for Ryanair. So she eventually hired you.
Yes, Ryanair was one of very good clients. Yes.
So, and thank you, Raphael. So, and Giles, are you there? Are you able to introduce yourself? So, Giles from IHG, one of our esteemed judges.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everybody. Good morning. I'm based in the UK, so it's good afternoon here. Yeah, Giles Broughton. I head up fraud intelligence investigations for Intercontinental Hotels Group. I'm looking at both the internal and external threats. Spend a lot of time looking at the threat landscape, intent, capability, modus operandi of the bad actors, the external ones in the main. Looking at our loyalty program, which has something like 127 million members, similar in size to Marriott, Starwood, and many other of the leading hotel brands. Yeah, a lot of effort is spent trying to mitigate account takeover by various means. We are looking at the grey markets. We're looking at the digital underground markets using outsourced providers, doing a lot of really interesting work. So really at the coalface, using tools, intelligence to understand the threat landscape and mitigate the threat to member PII and points value.
So looking forward to your questions about the tools we have today, all four new ones for the loyalty solution, or loyalty market. But Giles, also check out the app. because you know Brenda from the hotel calls. I
Yeah.
found out something interesting when we were talking to her. She was on the team that launched Priority Club at Holiday Inn in 19. Well, I won't even give the year, to be fair. So, but she was on the original marketing team that launched Priority
Really?
Club.
Okay. Good. I'll catch up
So,
with you later.
so she talks about that, and we posted the interview in the app. So it's really interesting. So
Thank you.
you can check that out, and everyone else can. So I please do. And Andreas, are you there?
Yes, Chris. Hi, everybody. My name is Andreas Decker. I'm based in Amsterdam, and I'm responsible for internal audit and compliance program of BCD Travel for now about 10 years. And before that, I have been working in various finance functions.
Excellent, thank you. So we look forward to your perspective on today's loyalty solutions. And I will explain a little bit how the game works. And sorry, everyone, I'm in the middle of a city, so there's trucks and things coming by, so excuse the noise. But so the way the game works is that we have 4 companies pitching. The less you judges know is the better. So I've asked them not to do any research. So we'll see the companies as they appear in the slides. In the order of your questions will be indicated in the slide, so it's pretty clear. Like it changes each time. So you know, one time Rafael, you'll be first. One time Giles first. One time Andreas first. And the order you question in is pretty clear. After maybe 90 seconds, go to the next person, and you know, try to find out as much as you can about the pitches we're going to see in 5 exact minutes. I will time you. You have exactly 5 minutes to ask questions. So with that, I think we're ready for our first pitch, which I think is Microsoft. So pretty exciting. This is a sort of launch for the loyalty industry, and I've known Sandra for probably 13 years or 12 or 13 years in various roles. So and she's a great pitcher. So let's see what Sandra has to say. So our first pitch is Microsoft, and it will be followed by 5 minutes of Q&A from the judges. So Rafael, we turn off our cameras and let's see Microsoft.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sandra Feinberg. I'm the Global Fraud Lead for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Fraud Protection Solution. We will call it DFP for short. For those of you unaware that Microsoft has a fraud solution, it was created 6 years ago to protect Microsoft e-commerce and Xbox businesses using adaptive AI technology. The main pillar of our solution revolves around decisioning in a pre-authorization mode. Our focus is on profit efficiency. Anyone can stop fraud, but it takes an innovative solution to minimize fraud while increasing your revenue at the same time. Our 3 main features include account protection, purchase protection, and loss prevention. Account protection helps safeguard user accounts from abuse and fraud by combating fake account creation, account takeover, and fraudulent account access and activity. Purchase protection helps protect revenue by improving bank acceptance rates with insights and tools that reduce fraud loss and minimize checkout friction. It's just as important to know who your good customers are as it is to stop the fraudsters. Both account protection and purchase protection include bot risk scoring and device fingerprinting at no extra charge. Our final component is loss prevention. This helps protect revenue by identifying anomalies and potential fraud on returns and proper discounts arising from employee behavior. So as we take a closer look at the KPI improvements we observed at Microsoft, we've experienced a decrease in our false positive rates of 138 basis points. Our fraud loss rate decreased 52 basis points. Our bank acceptance rates increased 7.69%, and our manual review rate decreased 70%. Today, our Microsoft e-commerce manual review rate is 0.2%, and other businesses within Microsoft, like Xbox, have a 0% manual review rate. Microsoft as a whole processes over 1 billion transactions a year. We have over 750 million active monthly users, and this is for Microsoft's business alone. It does not include any other merchants that are on our network. As I mentioned before, DFP works in a pre-authorization mode. Once a customer goes to check out, their device fingerprinting and bot risk score, along with the account payload, are sent to our fraud protection network. Based upon your operating points, we'll send you back a risk score. Our scores range from 0 to 999. Let's say we set your operating points at anything over 500 is risky. So if a transaction is de-identified and sent into our fraud protection network, we decide that that score is 800. We'll send that risk score back to you. It's at that time that you determine to decline that transaction or accept it and send it through to the bank. If you decide to accept it, we will send that through to the bank, and while it's making its way there, your transaction goes and flows through your gateways, acquirers, processors, card networks, etc. So before the transaction actually makes it to the bank, the risk score is waiting for it. And this is where the bank consumes our risk score and says, oh, if Microsoft felt this is a low risk transaction, therefore we will accept the score. And the reason they do this is because they have experienced a lower fraud rate from working with us as well. For example, two of the banks I can publicly disclose are American Express and Capital One Bank. Capital One is so excited and pleased to work with us. They've experienced a 55% reduction in false positives and a 22% reduction in overall fraud flowing through their bank. So to recap, Microsoft Dynamics 365 Fraud Protection is a pre-authorization solution. Microsoft is both a customer and provider of the same technology. We concentrate on overall profit efficiency. You may be willing to accept $5,000 worth of fraud if it will net you $50,000 in revenue. Each risk score includes bot protection and device fingerprinting at no extra charge. We are actually offering a number of free proof of concepts for viewers of this webinar. We're hoping you will take advantage of that offer. We look forward to hearing from you in the future, and please thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the webinar.
Let me unmute myself. Sorry, I was trying to say, can you unmute yourself as well, Sandra, so we can see you? Raphael, you don't need to be on camera for this part, so you're good at it, Raphael. You can turn off your camera. So I'll explain to everyone how this works. So the order, the judges won't be on camera, and I will start the stopwatch shortly here, Sandra. But how did you think it went? Your pitch, how did you feel about it? And what obviously was pre-recorded, but I really liked your stats. So good job on that, Sandra. Did you have any comments before the judges? Before I start the timer here? Uh-oh, we don't hear you. We don't hear you. Let's unmute you. So let me see. Try that now. Uh-oh, not hearing you. Can you turn on your microphone? There you go. I see you. Attendee is muted. Unmute Sandra. Let me see. Can you try now? I see you green.
Very good. I think that worked. Did that work?
That worked.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you know, it's very difficult to be able to explain your entire solution within 5 minutes. So, you know, it's always a challenge, but Microsoft, as we mentioned, we've been using this technology ourselves. It works so well that we decided to commercialize it. So we're very excited to bring it to the market.
Excellent. So where I give you credit is with the good stats, right? So definitely it's hard in 5 minutes, but you give a lot of credibility with the stats. So let's see if the judges agree. So Raphael, you start. Are you ready? Are you on
Yes.
microphone? Okay, so
I'm
here
ready.
we go. So on the count
Yes.
of 1, 2, 3, here your 5 minutes begin.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Good morning, Sandra. So my first question, with your very good presentation, obviously you have a great brand name, and the results sounds very, very effective. But as of today, the industry is always asking for agility. When you implement such a solution, how easy it is to implement to some other actors which are not Microsoft based or Microsoft user base, which is the capability you have to adapt to other e-commerce environments?
Sure. We are completely platform agnostic. The name is misleading. So it's Dynamics 365 fraud protection, but you do not have to be a Microsoft customer. You don't have to use any kind of Dynamics products. It is a standalone, and we are completely agnostic to both e-commerce provider or any kind of loyalty provider, any kind of platform.
Mm-hmm. And as of today, do you have any other customers starting to use it already, or is it in work in progress? How is it?
No, we have a significant amount of customers that are using it. We have certain confidentiality that we have to stay within, but we can disclose that on a one-on-one basis, just because you don't want fraudsters to know where your solution is. But they are very large. They are very well-known brands. So if we got to that point to disclose it with any of your customers, we are happy to do so.
Okay, and also, do you have a typical example of time frame of how much time is needed to deploy such as your solution?
Yes, typically it's a series of 3 to 5 APIs. It takes less than a week. We've had large state agencies, for example, to be implemented within 4 days with a part-time engineer. So it's very quick. Okay. And we basically utilize like JavaScript for the device fingerprinting.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all for me.
Chris, how long we got left?
Over to you. Yeah, we still have 3 minutes left. Over to you, Giles.
3 minutes, great. Sandra, great, thanks for that. I did note on your in the presentation you talked about the device fingerprinting and the risk assessment being done just preceding checkout. Do you do anything before the bad actor or the good actors log in to the account?
Yes, so it's account protection. So when they're creating the account, that's when the bot risk score and the device fingerprinting will kick in. So in order for them to have access, either A, they have to create the account, you can accept or deny. If they do get past that step, then the activity that they're doing within the account also has that bot risk score and device fingerprinting attached to it as well. We run it through the network, just like you saw how purchase protection works. Account protection works. It gets sent into the fraud protection network, and the adaptive AI is able to identify the entity behind that transaction or that activity.
Okay, thanks. So just very quickly, for my existing account, if a bad actor tries to access my existing account today, when do you first device fingerprint and risk assess or stop any further activity?
When they log into their account, if they're already a good customer. If they're not a good customer today, or if you want us to take a look at your history, your customer base, then we'll be able to do a historical analysis for you. And that's part of that free proof of concept we talked about, doing that historical analysis to load that information into the network to pre-warm models so it can make better decisions.
1 minute remaining.
Yeah, Andreas, over to you.
Sandra, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about your client base, not specific names, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about the industries that you're covering and also your regional global reach.
Mm-hmm. The global reach is 187 countries. Anywhere where Microsoft is, we're fully compliant with GDPR, all of the regulatory requirements. We have customers that range anywhere from airlines, from loyalty solutions, restaurants, state agencies, state unemployment agencies, gaming companies. There's a wide variety of customers, and that's very important for your network, the consortium effect, right? Because you want to know if a fraudster is hacking into a state unemployment agency, because those fraudsters move laterally.
Okay, so good job, Sandra. You've reached the 5 minutes, so thank you. How do you think you fielded the questions well?
I hope so. You know, like I said, it's very difficult to give you all of the great points within 5 minutes, but we just ask you to take a look, give it an opportunity to shine. If Microsoft, one of the top 10 e-commerce companies in the world, is using this product, you know it has to work, right? Because our LT would not accept anything less than almost perfection.
Excellent. So thank you for that. So you can turn off your camera. Job well done, and good again, good stats in your presentation. So I enjoyed that. And now we're with our next pitcher. Jim, do you want to before we run you, or Paul, do you want to test your camera? Paul's running it. So here we go. So go ahead, Paul. Run.
I would like to thank you for the opportunity to present our new password authentication platform called NoPass. In January of this year, the World Economic Forum published a white paper encouraging corporations worldwide to eliminate passwords. The reason why the World Economic Forum published the white paper is that malware's first step is to gain access to someone's password. If there are no passwords, then the malware cannot function. So the World Economic Forum has endorsed the new 502 authentication standard that was ratified in 2018. NoPass totally eliminates passwords for logging into networks and applications from both PCs and mobile devices such as smartphones. NoPass is classified by NIST, which sets the standards for cybersecurity authentication at AAL3, which is the highest level of security for authentication. NoPass utilizes a biometric step in the authentication process that validates the user's identity. This biometric step provides the same level of identity verification as a digital signature. Over the next 2 years, a high percentage of corporations will update their authentication processes to incorporate 502 to prevent fraud. NoPass also has the unique ability to validate your website to your customers and employees before they log in using our full duplex authentication feature that provides a unique two-part one-time visual image when they enter their unique user ID at login. If you are prompted to enter a password, you know you're at a fake website. Here on slide 2, I provide snapshots of the NoPass application that I will demonstrate, such as the NoPass registration process, the passwordless authentication login process, and the transaction approval process. The simplicity of NoPass will increase your customers' confidence in your organization's ability to protect their identity and their transactions by eliminating passwords. No more forgetting passwords, no more account lockout, and no more fraudulent transactions. The cost of this level of security is 2 cents per customer per month. NoPass prevents customers and employees from logging into a fake website and or applications. With NoPass, account takeover is a thing of the past. In my demonstration this morning, I'll demonstrate 3 processes. The first process will be the customer registration process, opting in for passwordless authentication. The second will be logging in passwordlessly once they're registered. And then the third will be doing a financial transaction, moving money between accounts, which could be applicable for travel, for example, redeeming miles. So in the registration process, we're going to create an account, and I'm going to use my Facebook login. At this point, it's prompting me to scan the 2D barcode on the PC screen. And then we have this 8 digits registration one time that will be entered. And now the smartphone app is downloaded onto the phone and operationalized. It's pretty simple. Now we're going to log in and demonstrate the passwordless authentication now that we're registered. So I'm using my facial login, click on that. Also, we can use custom IDs and email addresses as well. So here I'm getting 2 images, 2 one-time images. I compare them, I hit accept, and then I do my biometric step. Now for the transaction, we click on money transfer, click on one account. We'll send $500 from one account to another account. Click transfer. Now I'm being notified to authenticate that transaction. The two images match. I click accept, and then I do my facial scan, biometric, and I'm complete. That completes my demonstration of these three processes for NoPass.
So hi, Jim, how are you? Let's see, I think you might be on mute. You want to unmute yourself? Let's get you, you're still on mute. Here, unmute yourself. So there you go. Hold on, Jim. Unmute Jim. Let me see. Let me see. Try it now.
Yep.
Yep. So how did you feel? That's the first time you've pitched with us. How was it to have to explain your product in 5 minutes?
Well, it was a fast elevator pitch. One thing I did want to mention too that I didn't talk about, because we have a lot of capabilities with this, is also it can be used to authenticate people calling into a call center using the app and a biometric step to validate who they are. I did not show that in that presentation.
Oh, good. So let's see. We're going to start with the judges here soon. So are you ready? And are you there, Giles? You're or no? It has the wrong picture. Someone mixed up the pictures. So Giles is now Andreas. So sorry about that. I missed that. But Andreas, as with the picture of Giles, are you there, Andreas?
Yes,
So
I'm here.
so Andreas, Giles. So Andreas, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. We're going to start our 5 minutes. Go.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jim. First of all, I was wondering if you could tell us if you have already a client base in the travel industry.
No, we just launched this project, this product in actually June. We've been working on it for 3 years. 502 got ratified in 18, and we were already moving down this road. We were just waiting for them to ratify the architecture. So now we're going out looking for our first customers. We have 2 that are signing up as we speak. One's in healthcare, and the other is actually in payments in the banking space.
Mm-hmm. Allow me one more from a different angle. Did you ask potentially some ethical hackers to look at your solution and find a hole?
Yes, matter of fact, that's my background in that area for the last 40 years is around cybersecurity and hackers. And that's how I came up with this concept 5 years ago, working with banks, seeing how much fraud was going on around passwords, the healthcare everywhere. And I said, well, I got to go on a mission here to get rid of passwords. And so actually the EMV chip architecture is what gave me the idea of using public key, private key to do the authentication along with the biometric step.
Thank you, Jim. Over to you, Giles.
Thanks, Jim. Very interesting. Passwordless journey is fascinating. It clearly does away with credential stuffing, or seriously mitigates that risk. But how would you handle a database of 120 million or 200 million existing customers or members of a loyalty program, and what are the effects on member friction, guest friction, when they have to go through the process of first enrolling and then moving forward?
I get that question a lot, especially for large banks I'm working with. And we use a 2D barcode, as you saw, to do that function. So it's easy to do. They just got to scan it with their phone. So the registration process is pretty much automated. And so what we advise people to do is have people opt in initially. You don't want to force this on people, but most people will go for it because if you get rid of passwords, then that's a benefit.
Okay, thanks. Over to you, Raphael.
Yeah, thank you, Giles. Jim, very good presentation and a very interesting product. I have a question regarding your business model because you're mentioning 2 cents per login. Have you been challenging this business model against the market? I mean, obviously, any e-commerce or bank would say, okay, it's going to multiply how many customers are logging in every day and how much account takeover fraud there have been last month, last year or so. How the market is reacting to this?
Well, our main competitor that set the benchmark was actually a lot of banks and organizations use SMS text messaging, and the industry benchmark for SMS text messaging cost is 4 cents every time you use it, every time you log in. So us at 2 cents unlimited per month per user cuts our cost in half, and we're encrypted in in-band, where SMS is out of band and easy to spoof.
Yeah, okay, very good answer. Okay, thank you. That's my question.
Okay, so actually there's still a minute remaining, so you can filibuster, Jim, if you would like. So you've got a minute to go. So why don't you tell us about your call center or what you were saying before? You know, why don't you have the floor? 1 minute with all ears. Go for it.
Yeah, and I've got an extensive background in call center. I've spent many years working for AT&T, doing a lot of their call center technology development and services. And when I started building this, every time I went to a bank, that was the first area they were having major issues, was people calling in, impersonating people, things like that. And so I said, well, I can fix that problem, because all account holders can have my app on their phone to access their mobile and online, so we can use that. So when someone calls into the call center and the agent says, okay, now you're talking about something and I need to validate your identity, they just press an icon on their dashboard, because we got their customer file open, we can see their account number. Then that would push a message over to our platform to cross-correlate that and send them a message saying, please authenticate yourself. So the app would light up on their phone. They'd open it up, see the message, hit accept, and then do the biometric step. And then the message flows right back to the call center agent, and all that is contained in an audit log.
Okay, that's 5 minutes. So how do you think it went? Is it a good sign or a bad sign that the judges finished a little bit early?
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out.
Yep. So, all right. Well, thank you for that, Jim. I think it went very well. And so on to our next pitching company.
Thank
So,
you.
and so you can turn off your camera, Jim. And Masyaj, before we do this, just want to test your camera. So are you there, Masyaj? There you go. I'm gonna unmute you. So how are you? How are you doing today? You want to test your?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. So you're in the office in Poland.
Yep.
Where are you, in Krakow?
No, it's actually a city of Łódź in the center of Poland, third biggest city.
Okay. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Lion's Den. We're gonna play it in a second. And how did you find? Well, this is a brand new product, right? So this isn't. I mean, I watched your pitch. I think you literally just launched it.
Yeah, we built it this year, early this year. So it was, I think, second quarter when we began working on it. And right now, it's in the phase where we launched first implementation project, have some first results. So excited to share with you guys.
Excellent. So I'm excited to see it. It was good. So you can turn off your camera and your microphone, and we're going to play your pitch, and then you'll have 5 minutes to answer questions. So thank you for that. So
Hey, so my name is Maciej Tyczyński. I work for Callmark. We're a global software house with our loyalty system being one of our flagship products. And today I wanted to tell you a story about how we created a tool to prevent loyalty fraud related to new member enrollments. So it all started with one of our clients who's running a very successful, big, multi-million member loyalty program in Europe. And similarly to other big corporations, they love bar charts, especially the ones that are showing the growth, for example, in the active member base. And as long as we can put a nice green trend line over it, everything's fine. No one's asking difficult questions. But then 2020 happened, and it stopped. Basically, the growth of the member base stopped being as optimistic as it was in 2019. They started looking for new ways to attract new members to join the program and created this whole new campaign of, together with some member get member incentives, but most importantly, some instant 5% discount vouchers that new members can use straight after enrolling. And together with some social media campaign, they managed to get the numbers up and everyone was happy, opened some champagnes. But then a couple of weeks later, the loyalty program manager received this email that we were all scared of receiving from their IT security department saying that there's some security incident ongoing in the system, and basically their partner discovered that there's this growing number of accounts that are being put on the dark web marketplaces for sale together with these discount vouchers that they introduced in this campaign. So a couple of stressful Zoom meetings later, they realized that it wasn't actually related to a data breach, which was a good thing, but it was something much simpler, and they started analyzing these new member data and realized that some of it are what basically are called trashy enrollments or fake enrollments. So basically some scripts and bots that are creating fake member accounts using random strings, artificially generated strings, disposable emails, some legitimate emails, but adding some prefix to them, for example, from stolen member credentials that were leaked elsewhere, and basically creating these whole bunch of fraudulent member accounts just to get these vouchers, combine in a pack, and then sell it for $5 on dark web. All happening in a fully automated way without anyone really spending much time to create this as a formal hacking attack. So they started investigating how they can prevent it from happening, and realized, they would need to invest a whole bunch in a new portfolio of security tools to analyze IP addresses, device fingerprints, and so on. But they're looking for something simpler, and this is basically what we built. And so we took their historical data related to the member accounts. So things like first name, last names, email addresses, but also a couple of other member attributes, and basically trained a set of machine learning models together with some statistical models to score each enrollment and every personal data change on member accounts to say whether this looks genuine or resembles some fraudulent accounts that we've seen in the past. So basically, we take historical data, train the models on that, and then with every new enrollment, it's being scored against a number of machine learning models, and we're returning these number of scores like how probable is it that the name being used is fake, how similar is it to something we've seen in the past, or maybe it's something completely new. Does the email domain look genuine? Is it something that we've seen in the past? Or, for example, we're getting a flood of these domains where we've never seen before. What is the correlation between the name and email addresses and so on? And basically, we created a new, what we call AI enrollment security microservice. It probably isn't the sexiest name for a new tool or product, but it works. But it works great. It's a standalone microservice. It can integrate with any other system using web API. We managed to deploy it as quickly as 1 day from receiving historical data, so we can see the effects of it really easily and quickly. There are no rules, no blacklists. It requires very little configuration, and the more data we get, the better it gets. So something that started as a simple tool, our little project for one of our clients, became a very nice add-on to our loyalty portfolio. Now I'm ready to take some questions, and we'll be happy to hear your feedback about what you guys think about that. Thank you.
So Masyaj, can you turn on your camera? And this time Giles is chopped. So nice to see you. Are we able to hear you? Can you?
Yeah.
So,
can you guys hear me now?
So can as we bring in the judges, so Paul and I we were trying to guess how to say your name. So I said Chizinski. Is that correct? Chizinski?
Close. Chizinski. It's one of those tongue twisters for non-Polish speakers, but it's fine.
Yes. So something I grew up in Pittsburgh, and the most traditional food of my city is the pierogi. So it's one of I now live in Panama, but I miss pierogies the same as like a Polish person would if they left Poland. So it's very typical in my city.
Well, hopefully in better times you'll be able to visit.
Yes, and but ours are better. I tell you, they put jalapeno pepper in them, and it's delicious. And the pierogi ruski with jalapeno pepper, you must try it. It's delicious. So typical of Pittsburgh. So with that, are you there, Giles, to start the questioning?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Chris. So, dzień dobry, massage. Very interesting. I think certainly all of the hotel loyalty program members here, have a problem with fake enrollments and promotion stacking, etc. So, you need historical data from the loyalty program from the company. You then review that and do the machine learning AI piece, etc. Do you actually stop the enrollment at time of creation, or do you come back to the company and say, it's got this risk, or the company must now make the decision?
Right, good question. So we typically implement it or integrate with our loyalty platform, which has like a rule engine. So essentially, we return a score at the time of enrollment, and later on, the company is able to configure it in our loyalty rule engine what we want to do with the enrollment, right? So for the customer that we implemented it for, he basically set like a threshold, right? So if the score is high enough, they would basically block the account from registering. If it's within like the second highest tier, they would prevent it from redeeming and put it on to the queue for manual review. And if it's lower than that, it only gets flagged or the score is being put as like a member attribute.
Right, very interesting. Okay, thanks for that. Andreas, over to you.
Okay, thank you. I was wondering, the solution that you have built for this one customer now, how do you feel that this will be working for other customers in other industries as well? And did you do any checks how well your algorithms are actually working and finding actually the fake accounts?
Right, good question. So we actually have it implemented for one of customers and are running a couple of pilots as we speak. And I'm not as concerned about industries because registration data doesn't differ that much between industries. What I'm mostly concerned about is countries and local specifics between email addresses, popular domains, and member data. And one of the bigger challenges right now we're piloting this solution for our customer in South Africa. And believe me when I say the personal data there is a absolute mix of all the different cultures and origins, and even the smartest AI is getting confused a little bit. So it's definitely a challenge, but we also piloted it for one of our customers in the US, and it's looking like it's working well. So I'm hopeful that with time, the more data we get, the more pilots we do, the better it's going to become.
Can you already tell us a little bit about the pricing model?
Right. So, as a solution at the early stage, it's not quite fixed yet. But for most of our customers, we deliver this as an add-on to our loyalty platform. So what we would typically do is we would add a little bit of the hosting required to that, and then charge like a fixed year license for the use of it. But we're also considering a cloud usage model where basically we charge for number of requests we receive.
But still, the solution would also work as a standalone solution, or are there any other products from your product suite that you would need to have already signed on?
Mm-hmm.
So to go.
It is a standalone microservice, so it can integrate with any other solution using web REST API. But for the pilots and for the current customers, we mainly target it for our existing customer base. So by default, we're integrating with our core loyalty solution, but it can be integrated with any CRM that can potentially be used by clients or prospects.
Thanks. Over to you, Raphael.
Okay, thank you, Andreas. Thank you, Maciej. And this is a very interesting, very smart solution. One question, when you're referring to the historical data, you refer to the historical data of that loyalty program, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so it might have or bring some limitations because hackers and fraudsters, they might have a view on that historical data and maybe do some changes. Have you ever thought or thinking that you could also
We have hit 5 minutes. Sorry, Raphael, I have to cut you off. We have hit 5 minutes.
Oh, sorry. It was a very interesting question, by the way.
Let's follow up on that, okay?
Yes. I will ask you that later on.
So besides for running out of time, how did you feel it went, Masyaj? Do you feel good about your question, your answers?
Yeah, I feel good. It was quite a challenge, I gotta admit, and I feel that the recording piece only added to the difficulty because if it was live, I'd probably just do it once. But the recording was probably like a third try or something like that because I got blocked at some point. So it was a very nice challenge. So thanks everyone for the opportunity.
Oh, good. No, great job. I thought you did a great job, and you seem very in your pitch for me. You seem very at ease, very comfortable. So it was nice, like watching someone in their house talk. So good job. Good job. And with that, I will call on our next pitcher, who's last
Thank
but
you.
not Mark Ross Smith. Are you there? Are you able to unmute? We'll check your camera. So unmute, Mark. How are you doing?
Hello, good evening, everyone.
So what time in the morning is it in Kuala Lumpur?
It is, let me check, it's just midnight now.
Midnight. So thank you for staying with us till midnight. And with your, is your hair cut because the barbers are not open yet in Kuala Lumpur?
No, I made a deal with my wife. I will cut my hair when I next fly out of the country. So I haven't flown out of Malaysia since February. So I'm not cutting my hair until the borders open again.
Oh wow! So I'm on the same boat, but I cut my own hair, so luckily. So and how did you find having to sum up your product in 5 minutes? Was it easy or not? So you were struggling, or was it okay to do it?
Yeah, I think it's a challenge. I obviously went down the security perspective. It's very interesting hearing the other talks today, and then we'll see how it fares against them.
Yeah. Because in fairness, I do know the product, and it's more of a marketing product, but definitely has a fraud angle. So you're pitching the fraud angle here today, but it was designed as a marketing product. So I'll leave it at that and let people watch your pitch. So with that, you can shut off your camera, and I'll ask Paul to run the pitch.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark, and I'm a status match expert with Loyalty Data Co. For the first time in history, the economics of travel loyalty programs have come into public view. United Airlines Mileage Plus is valued at $22 billion, Delta SkyMiles valued at $30 billion, American Airlines Advantage valued at $20 billion, Virgin Australia Velocity at $2 billion, Spirit Loyalty at 1.6. The list goes on, you get the idea. All over the world, we're seeing a similar theme whereby the loyalty program is worth more than the airline or hotel group as a whole. We all know that loyalty programs bring tremendous value to the organization through new customer acquisition, unlocking new revenue streams, reducing OTA and GDS commissions, and much more. Put simply, loyalty programs for travel companies are an important asset today and will be critical as travel demand picks up and brands look to leverage the power of that membership base in the future. Through my years of consulting with travel brands across the world and through my first own-hand experience in running airline loyalty programs, I've seen the illegitimate scamming junk customers exploiting loopholes wherever they can. One of the ways these scammers mess with the loyalty program is through elite status fraud. What is elite status fraud, you ask? Exactly. It's so hidden and out of the way that most airlines and hotels we work with don't even know it exists. With that in mind, check out the diagram below. Firstly, it starts with a status match. Many airlines and hotels offer status matches, and the typical process is something like this. Customer fills in a form or sends an email attaching a screenshot of a photo of their silver or a gold membership card, or maybe a screenshot of their statement. membership cards are super easy to Photoshop. And often the program has no way to validate that the membership number is real or that the elite status that the customer says they're holding with the program is correct. And even then, how would the program know if that customer is using, for example, a gold status obtained via another program where they use fraudulent credentials to obtain that status and is now matching it into your program? Your loyalty program would then approve the match, and the customer with their newly minted legitimate elite status could then go to use your program and obtain status in other programs. For example, we see a lot of this with casino loyalty programs. In the case of airlines, there is a direct revenue opportunity cost that status match member now has access to your business class lounges, or worse, a partner lounge where you're responsible for paying the lounge access fees for that member. There's also seat allocation displacement costs, lost ancillary revenue from bags or buy on board, additional interline fees, the list goes on. For hotels, the individual property pays the price for providing additional amenities to these customers, like free breakfast, club lounge access, room upgrades, and there's also the points liability issues. And again, the list goes on. You get the idea. I can go on all day. People are scamming you right under your noses, and many loyalty programs don't even know it. Which is why we launched a revolutionary product called Smart Match. So we offer status match as a service to loyalty programs. Smart Match will instantly verify that the person applying for the status is the person they say they are, and we can verify what level of status that person is holding with the program without any requirement of showing a membership card or a statement. So photoshopping cards is a thing of the past. As we're a centralized platform that manages technology for multiple loyalty programs, we can stop people from chain matching from one program to another. And Smart Match is fully outsourced. It's a white label solution, and you can verify member credentials through our API. We can verify elite status within minutes and ensure that your elite status match program only accepts the right customers. So as the status match expert, I welcome any questions you may have.
So Mark, can you turn on your camera? So before we get to the judges, I wonder, with your product, I would think that there might almost be silos within the company. Some people may be promoting status match to say, hey, we got all these new members, and another department might be upset about it. So within the same company, there's probably some different reactions to status matching within the same organizations.
You're right. There's conflicting KPIs generally. You know, the loyalty team just wants to get as many loyalty members as possible because they're writing off the accrual revenue of those members, or maybe they're reporting it to management. Whereas you've got other departments that might be paying costs out to other airlines or hotels as part of those elite members, and so you really need a sort of a company-wide scorecard on status matching instead of just sort of shelling it out to everyone.
But I'll let you explain that to maybe the judges will have a question on that. So I will. Raphael, are you there? Are you able to?
Yes.
Okay, so I will count on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and the time starts now.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mark. Mark, very interesting presentation. Also, a very interesting product. A couple of questions. How easy it is to integrate in the new loyalty program? What's the time and the cost for the operator?
Yep, super easy. So we offer 2 products. We offer one is that API. So you can just directly connect into API if you want to handle your own status match solution, which many companies do want to sort of keep that control of. Pinging our API is literally just saying, is this member ID legitimate, and what status level are they with another program? We can also look at if they've taken up status matches with any other company that we work with as well. So the API is the first way to integrate, which is very, very simple. Second way is we operate as a service. So we actually run your status match campaign for you. So that's sort of a white labeled landing page. We sort of go through the flow of information, asking things from the user. That is a little bit more involved process. It's about 2 weeks to set up that process. We don't charge any setup fees, and we charge on a per transaction basis. So basically, per status match that goes through our system, we just charge you a flat fee.
Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you. That's my question. To you, Gilles.
Okay.
Thanks. Thanks, Mark. Just a couple of questions. You talk about real-time verification. I was just wondering how you actually do that. You know, what is the intelligence? What's the evidence you're looking at to verify a status match or a person's identity or membership of a certain program? And secondly, really, it's attached to that is what's the coverage on loyalty programs around the world?
I can answer that in one sentence or two sentences. The real time, when I say real time, I mean within about a minute or so. So it's compared to most programs that take 2 weeks or so to get back to a member after they apply for a match. So a couple of minutes is as good as real time in comparison to that. Yeah. We do that because we tap into many different resources. You know, we've sort of been in the industry a long time. We know where the data sources are. The startups, there's big companies, even GDS stuff. We tap into sort of everywhere. There's no silver bullet to get all the data from one source. So we know where to go to get the most accurate data for this status matching. We only verify the person's status, so we don't verify their identity at all. We just know that this member ID 123456, for example, is a Cathay Pacific Gold member, right? And for airlines, we cover all three major, all Oneworld, Star Alliance, and SkyTeam airlines, and most other individual airlines. For hotels, it's a little bit different because they don't have alliances. There's some hotels we can cover, some we can't. It depends.
Okay, cheers. Thanks, Mark. Over to you, Andreas.
Thank you. Mark, I was wondering, when you offer the matching process as a service, on what infrastructure are you running it?
On infrastructure, so everything we do is hosted on AWS. We've built all our own technical architecture. We've got one of our co-founders is a very technical, capable guy. I won't even try to explain half of that. But you know, we've sort of been in the business a long time. We've sort of built applications. My history, for example, is I ran the largest social network in Australia for 7 years before selling that and exit. So the technology side, we're pretty good on that side. We know how loyalty programs integrate into their loyalty platform providers. And so we make sure that our technology can integrate with theirs as easily as possible with no cost or very minimal cost.
Mm-hmm. And what does that mean then from a jurisdiction perspective?
So
1 minute compliant with all data privacy or GDPR, for example.
Yeah.
The information that is provided to us from the customer on the hosted solution, for example, there's really not too much data that we request them. It's just name, email, and their frequent flyer details with the program they have right now. So we really don't get too deep into you know, who they are or address or anything like that. We just keep it as light touch as possible to keep the process flow very simple. Then the whole idea is to get that new status into the hands of that member as fast as possible.
Thanks.
Cool. You're on mute, Chris.
On mute. Sorry, I was on mute. No, that was your 5 minutes anyway. Sorry. Andreas's last. I was saying you had hit 5 minutes anyway, so you're good. So, how did you feel it went?
You know, it was okay. I think I was against a lot of very big companies there, and we're a startup, so I think I did pretty well in comparison. Yeah. So I'm sure the judges will take that into account.
Yeah, you're a startup.
But,
no, good job, and interesting, and especially in the hotel world, we hear a lot about with the casinos, the status matching. In the U.S. market, I read the blogs. The blogs are all over that, so I'm telling you step by step on how to cheat the system, and even sometimes getting into some dodgy stuff about doctoring doctoring documents. So hopefully you bring an end to some of that. So good job. You can turn off your camera, and the judges, you go off into your Microsoft Teams. And can I call in Tobias and Lewis? So are you guys there? So Tobias and good morning. How's your speaker, Tobias? Are you? Can we hear you? You are on mute. So let me unmute you. So Tobias, you want to try speaking?
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. I'm going to turn off my camera. So I'm joined by two past Lions Den winners. So Tobias won our Lions Den last week, and for the ATPS for my other job, and Lewis won our last physical LSA Lions Den. So two past winners. I unmuted you. Tobias, what did you think of today's pitches?
I thought it was great, very concise. I wish I had my own airline, and I would sign up for all three of them.
4 of them. So in question. So speaking of signing up, what does Rebound Travel do? So tell us what was your pitch about that you won last week? 30 seconds, a quick one.
30 seconds. All right. So Rebound, we're really about keeping cash in the company. We do this by offering smart offers to clients. So if you have a refund outstanding, instead of giving the client the refund that you have to do, you now offer smart offers like vouchers, miles that are all optimized. We also lock in the future loyalty with that customer. And last but not least, we help you to eliminate your chargeback risk with all those customers.
Okay, so you reduce refunds, or you increase people taking vouchers over requesting refunds, which helps cash flow and loyalty. So and Lewis, what did you think of today's pitches? So Lewis is from Secured Touch. It's a behavioral biometrics company. We heard about that earlier today. What did you think of the pitches?
Yeah, so yeah, the contestants, everyone did a really good job. I think they hit on the major points. I mean, some of the most successful line send pitches I've seen, it's really the people who are able to identify the audience, know what kind of pains them, what their struggles are, and having a product that fills that gap. And I think everyone did that today.
Okay, so how do you find, like, how did you find doing your pitch that you won with, like, you have to tell your whole company in 5 minutes? What was your strategy?
Yeah, look, having a pitch in 5 minutes is not easy. I think a couple of people mentioned that. I mean, look, it's definitely pushing all our comfort zones.
So I would like, Lewis, we put your workshop that you ran for the ATPS into the app of the LSA conference. So I would encourage everyone to check out your workshop that you ran a couple weeks ago on behavioral biometrics. So everyone feel free to go into the app of this event and check out Lewis talking about behavioral biometrics. So I think the judges are telling us, Toby, but so Tobias, any final thoughts?
My recommendation is just, hey, tell us what you sell right at the beginning, right? Practice with people who are actually in the industry, not just with your friends. And last but not least, put a line in and just tell us, how do you charge? How do you make money, and how do we have to pay you if we want to test your services?
So, and let me ask you, I believe you're actually raising funds right now for your business, right? So how do you prepare to pitch in Silicon Valley where you are? You're pitching the big travel investment VCs. How do you prepare yourself?
Well, it is really talking, and the feedback from partners actually helps you to be very concise and really come very quickly to the crispiest elements of your pitch and your company. What is it that you do, and how are you selling in these difficult times, right? I think it's very difficult at the moment, right? In the case of Rebound, our business model is success-based, right? We help you to keep money, and you only pay a portion of the money you retain. So it's self-funding, and that's a good one. But even if you don't have a totally different business model, share it with them. And if you go to investors, yeah, just be upfront. Even if you say, I have to figure that out, it's better to be upfront and honest than making stuff up. You know?
So both of you are in hotbeds for VC and startups. Lewis is in Israel, but originally from California. Tobias, you're from Germany, but you're in Silicon Valley. But both Israel and Silicon Valley are particularly hot spots for tech investment. Israel specifically for security. And but Tobias, do you find a lot of the people in Silicon Valley, like because you live there and you know people, I assume it's a lot of connections, right? What if I have a great idea and I'm in Estonia? How do I do this?
Yeah. So my recommendation is speak with other small companies who actually received funds, right? And you can look at all the VCs and see who's in their portfolio. I mean, the portfolio companies. And guess what? They raised money before, right? So speak to those investors that actually invested in companies like you, right? And that could be in Israel, that could be here in Silicon Valley, that could be Estonia. And you can go to Crunchbase where you find investors. And pretty soon, after just like a conference, and if you do some research, you'll crystallize and you'll see, hey, there are 5, 6 players in the travel space, in our case, fintech, that you should talk to. So you'll get a pretty good understanding pretty soon.
So, and Louis, just where does the Secured Touch financial backing come from? How did you guys get a start?
Yeah, so our main financial backer is with a financial firm in Germany called Arvato. They're probably the Bertelsmann Group, if you guys are familiar with them. And we also are about to actually release a new round of funding. But obviously, raising funds, once you get to another series, you have to be able to show, at least from the startup standpoint, you have to show some sort of positive growth. You have to show you have new clients, you have new onboarding, you have new proof of concepts going. So they kind of work hand in hand. As you grow, obviously the funding increases, and the investors need to see that as well.
So Bertelsmann is the second largest privately held company in the world. I didn't know that you guys were owned by them, but they're big in the loyalty space. So a lot of the people listening may have heard of them. They do fulfillment for loyalty programs, so they're quite big in the loyalty space. So well known. I know them. Been through our conferences many times over the years, so I know the company. In Biedersfeld, I think, a little town in northern Germany, where they are most of the entire city is them, I believe. So I have never been there.
Yeah, it's that in Dusseldorf.
Yep. So let me here launch a poll and let's see what the audience thinks. So audience, go ahead and vote. Which one? This is not on best product, but who did you find the most entertaining today? So let's go ahead and vote, guys. So please, oh yeah, votes are coming in. So please go ahead and vote. And let me check on Raphael. Raphael, are you back, Raphael?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, the judges have already decided.
Yeah, yes, we have decided already.
Okay, so right now we are running our poll. So everyone vote so we can hear from the judges. Let's close it off. We could usually leave it open for a minute or so. But did you guys have a tough decision today, Raphael, or it was pretty easy?
It was tough. Was not maybe the term. It was interesting because the 4 pitches were very interesting. Among those 4, 2 of them were clearly, let's say, nearly winners. Obviously, we had to pick only one of them, but 2 of them were clearly very interesting. Yes.
Okay, so well, I'm going to close this off. If anyone wants a final vote, this is on the most entertaining pitch. Nothing about the product. Who did you think entertained you the most? So I'm going to close that off and I'll share. The majority have now voted. So let me show the results here. They are Loyalty Data Co. So good job, Mark. So people liked you as a startup. You won us the most entertaining pitch. So good job. So and with that, you can shut off your camera, Louis. Thank you, Louis and Toby, for sharing your thoughts on travel sort of pitching and investment and etc. So Raphael, we want to turn on your camera and explain who you picked for the best product. So I can
Yeah,
I can
sure.
tell you, but here I'll send you a webcam request. There you go. A little bit dark, but we can see.
Let me. Well, I don't know if the light is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
good.
it's good. It's good.
Okay. Okay, fine. So the best one for the selection was Comark. for two reasons. The smart approach they had in their solution brought us to have this thought. The fact also that it's very easy to implement, and also the fact that it can be immediately available for their existing client base in the travel industry, which are the one impacted the most on these, or nearly the most in this fraud situation. We like very much also identity and loyalty co, but we had to pick only one.
Yep, and of course Microsoft is well,
Yeah,
Microsoft, and great data. So I'm sure it will be. I think all of the products had legs, and all of them were new to loyalty. So I think they all did a great job, and but congratulations to Callmark for winning the best product of this Lions Den. So good job on you, Callmark, and congratulations to everyone for great pitches. And we're going to sign off. We're back tomorrow at the same time you joined us today. And Sylvia, if you're still there, Sylvia commented last night about how good the presentations were. So she saw them for the first time last night and said, "Wow, these were good." So please join us. So Sylvia's microphone's on. I don't know if you have any comments to tell people about tomorrow.
Tomorrow, actually, what I would like to kind of comment on, not necessarily for tomorrow, just in general, we have some promotions that are running on the Whova app, including one from a fellow company called Loyalty and Rewards Company. They wrote a loyalty programs complete guide, and one of the chapters was written by the LSA's own Michael Smith. He wrote chapter 16 about security and fraud risks. And their loyalty programs complete guide is available on several platforms: Booktopia, eBay, Amazon. It's about loyalty program theory and practice, how they can help you increase visit, spend, brand love, retention. And they use a lot of case studies to actually illustrate these theories. Again, it's available. You can find it on the Whova app for a promotion, because we are actually giving away a few copies of this book. So go ahead, sign up for that. And again, to kind of reconnect with this morning, Callmark also has a great promotion on there as well, which pertains to timing's pretty good for some of us. If you want to join them for lunch, join them for lunch. They want to talk about some of their new products, and you can get a Uber Eats gift card.
Yep. And we were blown away by how generous it was. So take advantage and have lunch with Callmark. And also Sylvia, Wise Marketer, our other media partner, will have an offer that they're going to be sending today that I will share in the app as well. So and not to mention also the great content. So like hear about the launch of the first hotel loyalty program. I thought it was pretty exciting that one of our members was there. So join us tomorrow, same time, for some great presentations. Any other last thoughts, Sylvia?
No, I think we have another great day for us tomorrow. I've seen some of the presentations, and of course tomorrow we also have our panel. Interested to see their discussions, and then Sandra from today from Microsoft, and Dave, he will be doing a presentation tomorrow as well. They will be hosting our recap with networking, which is sponsored by Callmark.
Yep, in Zoom, so you can see people's faces and ask your questions face to face. So see you all tomorrow, hopefully, and thanks for joining us today. Signing off, and thanks everyone. Congratulations again to Callmark.